Today I fucked up by hatching a nest of hundreds of baby black widow spiders in my bedroom. Warning, some audiences may find this content disturbing. View at your own discretion. Welcome to the House of Reddit. Today, we share some recent r/today I fucked up stories posted on Reddit. Today I fucked up by hatching a nest of hundreds of baby black widow spiders in my bedroom. A couple weeks ago my 5-year-old daughter found a black widow mom and her egg sac. She wanted to look at it, so I very carefully scooped it up into a jar, twisted on the top and went around it with duct tape for good measure. She begged to let them hatch so she could watch them, and this seemed to be decent science homeschooling, after which point I planned to put them in the freezer for a somewhat humane death. What's the harm, I thought? They are sealed up well. Well, guess what, they weren't. The jar I used was plastic and some toys had come in. There were small holes in the bottom and sides, barely visible. Smaller than a hole punch, but plenty big for a baby black widow. So today we're going about our lives, when she notices a tiny spider. I kill it. Then there's another. Then another. I start to think, oh no. I grab the jar to find the egg sac has indeed hatched, with hundreds of tiny little venom weapons. But I see with the relief the duct tape is still there, there's no way they could have gotten out. Till I look at my hand. In the moment I was holding the jar, one crawled onto my hand. At which point I noticed the holes. I screamed, said some words that definitely shouldn't be said in front of a 5-year-old, and wanted to fling away the jar but managed to hold on to it in fear that tossing it would further distribute its murderous contents. Now my child is playing outside while I furiously vacuum and clean and wash every surface. God have mercy. While most people are upset that I didn't immediately kill it with fire and I stupidly brought it inside, enough people are upset about my inhumane treatment of the spiders that I wanted to comment on it. They were originally on the porch, not far out in nature, and given how dangerous they were, I felt I was making a choice between killing them then and there or later. I don't normally have the ability to drop what I'm doing in a day, a drive out to the middle of nowhere, far away from other humans, to release dangerous spiders. The observation option, if I had done it correctly, seemed like it would at least offer the opportunity to see them hatch, which does make a pretty educational impact on young kids, I think, more than another YouTube video. I do not torture animals for fun, I'm a vegetarian and hold that life is sacred. Besides mosquitoes and dangerous insects, I don't kill things. I get why compassionate people were upset by this. The spiders are still alive, not frozen, and now, since she's Reddit internet famous, today I will drive to the middle of nowhere and release the mom spider to go about her spider life far away from people. Today I fucked up by helping someone do coke in public. So this happened about 5 years ago now. I was working at a small truck stop, nothing special, just gas and diesel with a few places to park overnight out back. The only thing special that we made was pizza, kinda a big deal before every gas station cottoned on and started doing it too. So it was Friday night, pretty busy for us because we had a dirt racetrack nearby and all the locals stopped in for a late dinner on the way home. So it's rolling on towards midnight and I've got a line of people, putting in pizza orders and grabbing beer. My coworker is behind me making pizzas as fast as the oven will push them out. I finished ringing up a customer as they walk off and the next guy comes up to set his stuff down, another customer starts waving at me to get my attention. Quickly apparent they are deaf and mute as he mimes out a straw. Okay, easy, I point behind him to the soda fountain and off he goes. As I finish ringing up the customer and grab him a slice of pie, the deaf guy comes back. Now he wants scissors. Okay, not thinking about it, I grab him a pair and set them down at the other register. At this time I should mention the pizza cases were situated on the counter in between the two cash registers. So I couldn't really see what was going on, but my customer sure did. He grabbed his plate and took a few steps back to watch as I started to ring up the next lady in line. Hey! You can't do that in here. I'm caught like a deer in the headlights, looking around all bewildered and shit. Then I hear it, snorting like someone's got a dangler and it's about to break loose. I look over to my coworker and scream back at him. Dude! He can't hear you, he's deaf. So he runs up to the guy, arms waving, shaking his head back and forth and keeps trying to tell him no over and over again. The guy was trying to put down another line as he finally sees my coworker, so he jumps back away from the counter. And I see it clearly now, a Ziploc baggie about 1/4 of the way filled with coke. This guy looks at us, looks at all the people in the store and pops his straw right into the bag and starts hoovering it up. I can only assume, he lost his bearings when he got startled because he starts going up and down the aisles with his baggie and straw. Every time he got to the end of the aisle he'd take another huge snarf off his straw. Then he runs to the back of the store, and all I can hear is the fire alarm going off. The emergency exit sign must have caught his attention and he went for it. This all took less than a minute to happen, all we could do was stand there and look at each other. It was actually the siren going off that broke the spell. My coworker ran out back to follow him. This coked-up deaf guy just ran off into the back parking lot in the middle of the dark surrounded by woods and a highway. No idea where he went to this day. I went out the front door and my coworker went out the back. We circled the building real quick and didn't see him. He could have had a car waiting. Or he was at a campground nearby. I just don't know. Today I fucked up by throwing away 10 pounds of raw meat before trash day. On Friday I went to the grocery store. Meat was on sale so I bought a lot of it thinking I should freeze it just in case something weird happens with the grocery stores in the near future. March was somewhat traumatizing, I guess. My plan was to meal prep for once in my life and make some ready-to-go meal bags for my freezer. I work a lot and live alone so this would make my life easier. After getting home from a long day of working and grocery shopping I loaded the meat into my fridge with a plan to sort it out the next day. I didn't want to freeze it and make it more difficult to work with later on. Big mistake. The next day, I slept in, did a bunch of yard work, chores and running errands. That evening I'm prepared to sort the meat out. I realize I'm out of freezer bags. I realize all the nearby stores are closed. I put it off for one more day. The next day was my grandmother's birthday and my family had a small backyard get-together for her. I ran around trying to find her a gift, then order food for my family. Then my grandmother randomly asks me to bake dessert, anything for her of course. By the time I get cleaned up and get home, I'm not even thinking about that meat. I pass out in my bed. The next day, I have to work. That evening, I have a chat with a friend and I mention how I haven't gotten around to dealing with the meat yet. How long has it been in your fridge? She asks. I tell her 3 or 4 days. She says raw meat can't be kept in the refrigerator for longer than 3 days, right? No, I had no idea. And I still don't have any freezer bags. The next day, I opened one of the packs of meat and it looked and smelled a bit off. I'm a little squeamish and I didn't want to chance it. Plus my trash was getting picked up the next day. I regretted wasting that much food but I figured I didn't spend that much money on it in the first place so I'll get over it. I threw it out. I should have put the trash bins out right at that moment but it was early so I didn't think about it. By the time the evening rolled around, I didn't want to go out front that late alone. I figured I'd just put them out in the morning, which is what I usually do since I'm usually up before the waste management comes. The next day, I hear the garbage truck outside and I realize I've slept in without putting the trash can out. That was Wednesday. Today is Thursday and while in my driveway I caught the ever so faint whiff of the foul stench of rotted meat, procrastination and failure. A stench that I'm sure only grows worse with the passing minute. The egregiousness of my fuck off begins to dawn on me. There are still 5 more days to go until my next trash day. Today I fucked up by setting a strawberry shortcake doll on fire in a hotel and making my classmates scared of me. After my class was accepted into our program, we had our first class trip a month or 2 into the school year. I got to know some of my classmates before the trip but definitely not everyone. One night in the hotel I noticed a claw arcade machine with a doll of one of those Family Guy Brian in a dancing banana costumes. I'm not quite sure what about Banana Brian spoke to me, but he had to be mine. I went through a few $1s, then a few more, and before I knew it, I probably blew at least $30 on this stupid fucking claw machine with no luck. I got Brian right where I wanted him but then. It can't be. The claw grabbed Brian's friend, Strawberry Shortcake, and dropped her into the hole. Livid that I blew $30 plus on this bitch, I decided it was time to make her pay. My buddy and I took her out behind the hotel's dumpster and started trying to light her on fire. We learned the hard way she was made out of some sort of man-made material that wasn't flammable. No matter how long we held the lighter on her face, her clothes, her shoes, the little bitch just would not burn. She just sort of melted into a deformed, charred strawberry burnt shortcake. We gave up and walked back in, and decided to go to the party his friends were hosting in their room. When we got there, like the idiots we are, we decided it'd be more funny to leave burnt strawberry pile of shit outside their door, knock, and run away. We heard some screaming, and found out the next day the girls freaked out and kicked everyone out so they could go to bed. I never thought much of it. Fast forward a few years. By this time I'd become pretty close friends with one of the girls who hosted the party. One day I brought up strawberry shortcake and she said, "I know. We were afraid of you for so long because of that." Turns out they thought I was some freak psychopath murderer. To make matters worse, her friend/hotel roommate was pregnant at the time, hence freaking out over a dead-looking burnt baby and kicking everyone out of her room. If you enjoy this video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please let us know in the comments below. Turn on the notifications to know when we post new videos. Thank you for coming to the House of Reddit.